Ahí estamos. Boom, boom, grabando, grabando. Otro episodio today de Poetría Challenge. Uh, Hi there, everybody. Today's challenge, it's gonna be different. Not very different from the ones previous. Just taking another prompt from a place online. I don't remember the place, but I will post an image here of where I found it. But today, much like last week, is using a word. For this week, the word was monument. Um, Again, it was another prompt list with one word per day from the month of July, and number 20 just so happened to be monument. So, yeah, when it came to writing this poem, uh, took me a lot because I honestly didn't know what to write about, and I was also kind of being lazy because it's the summer and trying to enjoy the vacations as much as I can before going back into the workplace, before going back to teaching. So, yeah, for today, I just didn't think much about the poem. Since I was already having a hard time trying to come up with something, I just wrote whatever came to mind. And maybe I'll give you a little bit more info after reading the poem. But here it goes. It's called Monument, just like the prompt. And yeah. A monument stands tall with years worth of history attached to it. Years that bring joy, years that bring pain, years that can define a country if it fails to evolve. Punto. So, yeah, another short poem. This time around, since I didn't know what to write about due to the prompt, I didn't know. The word monument didn't really bring much to my mind at first. But then when I actually sat down and got to work, I immediately thought about everything that's been going on lately, regarding taking down statues and stuff like that. And sure, a lot of those might not be considered monuments, but a lot of them could be considered. So I thought about that movement of taking down statues that represent a dark moment in our past, a dark, you know, monuments that celebrate dark things from our past. And it got me to questioning, like, should we really be taking them down and destroying them, or should we just at least sure take them out, but maybe put them somewhere, I don't know, in a museum where they could be just used as forms of reflection about our past. Uh, the saying goes, we need to learn about our history in order to progress. And oftentimes we fail to reflect on our past. We often fail to do so. And sure, maybe taking down those monuments and putting them somewhere where they could not be celebrated as much would be a way forward. But destroying them altogether, I don't know. I don't know if it's the best action to take. Sure, the history books will always be there to help us reflect on the past. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of these works also help us. No, everybody learns differently. So, and hoy día, people don't read much. So, visuals like those monuments and documentaries and stuff like that, those could help us in the way. So I don't know if taking down the monuments per se is the right call to action, but I can definitely see it as a way to move forward, or at least opening a space for maybe a different monument, one that shows how far we've come along to be, to be there. So, yeah, maybe not destroying them, but moving them into other spaces where they could not be celebrated as much could be one way to continue moving forward. But I don't know if destroying them is the complete correct answer to everything. No. So yeah, the poem came about that those actions that have been going on lately. Sure, like I remember the first time I ever saw this was when uh, they were taking down, I believe, statues of Saddam back in the, I think it was the mid 2000s or late 2000s. But recently, I guess because we're seeing it closer to home, you know, in the States and here in Puerto Rico, since we're seeing it here, it has a bigger toll on how we think about it. But yeah, just got me to thinking: is this the completely correct way to do it, or should we think of other ways? You know. So yeah, that's how the poem came about. I know I'm rambling here, but yeah, I just want you to question yourself. Are there other ways for us to move forward as a people if we just destroy aspects of our past that we do not enjoy or celebrate, or maybe are afraid to look at, you know? So yeah, history books will always be there, I guess, because people barely read anymore, and we're overwhelmed with a lot of information every day. But the books will always be there in some way, shape, or another. Documentaries can also help us understand our past, but I believe these monuments can also help us reflect on it. So destroying them might not be the best way to move forward, but I can understand why people might think of it that way. I think maybe putting them in spaces where they aren't celebrated would be a better way. But then again, people have to build those spaces. So I can also understand why, destroying them ultimately might be a better solution. So yeah, when you think of monuments and think of maybe writing a poem regarding that idea, that situation, that whole thing that I'm talking about, question yourself. Is this the only way, or are there any other ways possible for us to deal with this situation? Of dealing with our past, of reflecting about our past, of reflecting about the demons of our history, the dark times in our history. Because if all we're going to do is destroy monuments, then we might turn into a bubble, a bubble. We might turn into a society that simply celebrates destroying something that we do not agree with. And yeah, sometimes we need those things in front of us in order for us to grow as a people entirely. And maybe not giving them the spotlight is the best thing, but putting them somewhere where we can still access them might serve as a way for us to continue reflecting or continue learning. So yeah, that's the poem. That's the questioning that came in behind it. A bit of the background, a bit of the creative process. So yeah, thanks for watching this. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, leave comments below regarding the whole, questioning going along. And subscribe if you like. And yeah, see you next week. Maybe. Who knows? See you next week.